Let me set the scene for you. It's 7 a.m. The alarm is blaring. It's still pitch black outside. And I'm wrapped up in my blanket like a burrito, thinking, what's the point? Every task feels like climbing a mountain. And don't even get me started on the mood swings or carb cravings. Sound familiar? That's not just winter laziness. That's seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. And here's the thing. It's real. It's common. And it's not just in your head. I know because I've been there. In fact, later in this episode, I'm going to be sharing my own sad story and how it shaped the way I navigate these darker months. But first, we're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about what SAD actually is, what's happening in your brain, and what the experts are saying about how to fight back. So let's get into this. Welcome back, my friend. You're listening to Embers Rising, the podcast where we help you reignite your inner fire and keep it burning strong no matter what life throws at you, including these winter months of sorrow feelings. I'm your host, Wendy J., storyteller, dream chaser, and really self-proclaimed, professional blanket burrito during these winter months. Sitting next to me is my partner in crime, adventure buddy, partner. Buddy and partner. And the guy who somehow makes chaos look super fun, my husband and co-host, David Tucker.
And you forgot to mention, I'm the other half of the burrito, right? So there's
That's right. Wrapped up together.
You got to have beans and cheese. Which are you?
I'll choose the beans.
Okay, cheese makes me gassy. And again, so does beans. So here we go.
All right.
So we're launching the official burrito episode.
We are.
And
yeah.
I was going to short track this because I have a way of curing SAD completely.
Yeah.
And I brought it here. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, here you go.
So
there you go. It's all over.
It's
feel not
so
happening
good.
anymore.
All right. So my listeners, Dave just passed me over my little stuffed animal of this little dog that I have. And he literally just passed it over on the table. So, yeah, that's great, Dave. Thanks for bringing in that cute little surprise.
Hey, I fix everything. That's what men do. Men want to fix. We fix things. And so you're solved.
Well, super fired up that you guys are here with us today. And I want to say thank you for pressing play wherever you're at today, whether you are driving to work, getting in a workout, folding laundry, doing the dishes, curled up in bed, hoping for a spark of inspiration. We are super grateful that you are here for us. I do have a couple of shout outs, Dave, that I do want to share before we get into, because I want to dig into SAD. This is something that has affected me my whole life, and it took me a while to actually figure it out, what to do, and try a lot of different protocols to help me feel better. And I want to help our listeners, or maybe someone you know, start thinking about how you can help yourself or someone you know feel better, you know?
And this is an interesting episode for me, and I'm going to not come off as not empathetic or sympathetic, but I don't have. It doesn't affect me, right?
Yeah.
I just generally don't have the SAD thing. And so I am impacted indirectly, as we all are when your loved one has something going on in their life. So I do have some of my ideas that I have maybe a little bit like against the grain of all of this. If you have SAD out there, like, I'm on your side. But I'm going to bring in a little bit of Joe Dispenza energy.
Okay, I like that.
That's why I got these glasses on. So these are my SAD blockers.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get into that. Let me jump into a couple of shout outs here. We had a short that we posted on Instagram that was called The Top Causes of Divorce. And boy, didn't that generate a lot of comments. And I just want to say thank you so much, unique_glams, for saying that's a lot of percentage. And what the unique_glam is talking about is Vishal Burari said 50% is too much. So yeah, 50%, it's pretty high on the top causes of divorce. But if you're, and then Robust Physical Therapy says, if you're not in sync, it's a bumpy ride. And he had like a little bike icon there. And then Social with Glam says, this one is a crazy stat. Justin and Jess, my friends _ says, yikes, this is a scary stat to read as someone who works with their spouse. Hope we're on the positive side of that statistic. I'm sure you guys are. We are seeing you out there. Justin and Jess _ if you're not following, these two are an incredible couple. They're adventure couple, travel all over the world, do incredible adventures. You guys are amazing. Cannot wait to have you on our live group call coming up soon. Shift.agency says, good thing you are deep diving into the root cause of the problem, making it easier for your listeners to navigate. Thank you, Shift. We appreciate that. Then we had another post that went out, and this was called Calling All Humans. You're always communicating, but are you connecting? Better communication equals better life. Let's throw out the fluff and focus on connection. So this was a shameful spot out there on our channels to talk about Speak to Connect, which is if you don't know, our cohort program that runs all year long. You can get into several groups that we have. It takes like either 6 days or 6 weeks to get through with your partner, and we help you learn your own personal communication model. We break it down, and then we help you learn how to communicate with anybody that has communication models, which we all do. And this is the same expertise, knowledge that you would gain that companies like NASA, Pixar, the White House even uses this communication model. So
not as well lately.
In my
professional opinion.
Yeah, this is a really powerful communication model. So let's check it out. If you want to know where to check it out, you can go to my website, wendyj.com/speak to connect, or hit just speak to connect. You'll see it there. And we'd love to.
And let's spring a surprise already. What do you think the impact of Speak to Connect and the PCM model is on the topic we're talking about today? SAD. You think it's a useful?
Yes, for those that are going through it and you're supporting someone who has it, I think yes. Being able to.
And would SAD fit into one of the distress sequences?
I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so.
And at its core, it's sort of like a form of depression.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that. I'm so excited. Okay, so let me dive in real quickly. So on this post, we had a few of you. Cassandra Hines says, own your voice, truly connect. This is going to help so many people. Social with Glam says, connection is the foundation of any relationship or any ship for that matter. Thank you, guys. This is so amazing. Demonte_properties says, amazing. Vishal Burari says, owning voice is a big one. It's why Dave and I love the Speak to Connect program. I want to say, I don't know how to say this name. It's BILAL Digital Marketer says, love this perspective, Wendy. Communication truly is about connecting, not just talking. And Dave and I wholeheartedly believe that. That's why we designed this program, Speak to Connect. Robust Physical Therapy says, love this. You're absolutely right. It's about connection, not just talking. That's all I'm going to share because we were kind of flooded and we have a lot to share today in this topic.
I love all those shout outs.
Yeah,
right? I love
there's
the people
so many.
are giving us feedback, but also giving us ideas.
Yeah.
And I just think that's awesome. And I make Wendy actually read all of those things and the names because I would slaughter it
The
so
handles
bad.
are a
I would
little
be
tough.
just like, another guy said this, some girl said that, these people said this, So on we go.
Yeah, well, and if you're listening to this and you leave us a comment out there, we're obviously going to see it. We would love, wherever you're listening to this, please drop us a comment. Let us know what you think of this episode or your story. We would love to feature you as one of our shout outs here. That's what we do. We want to give you big kudos for being part of our community. But today we're really digging into the seasonal affective disorder and what the heck it is, what causes it, and most importantly, how you can take the steps to feel better and support the people in your life who may be struggling with this too, including kids and family and friends.
And we're actually covering this topic again because we shot this entire episode yesterday. And why are we reshooting it again today on a Sunday morning?
Because we love and believe in you guys, and we want to give you the highest and best information, and we want it to be actionable where you can take it and take it into town, take it into your own life, apply these action steps of what we're going to share. And sometimes we all don't know, when Dave and I do an episode, we kind of look back at it and say, did we provide the highest and best for our listeners?
Yeah.
And can you get out of what you need out of this? Otherwise it becomes a wasted episode. And we want to give you action steps to make sure you understand what the heck this is and then how to deal with it. If you haven't heard about it.
It's funny. So we shot that episode yesterday.
Yeah.
This episode that you're watching. And then we went for a long run. And as you passed me several times, you're like, what did you think of that episode? And we both came to the same conclusion. And that was, it really wasn't our way of serving our audience at our highest and best self, right?
Yeah.
There was too much stuff in there that didn't work, right?
Yeah.
And so despite the fact that I'm like, we've got it done, it's in the can, I don't want to do it again on Sunday. It's what we have to do, right? Because you don't want to put out something that you don't believe in just to get the episode out and tick off the box.
Yep. For sure. Thank you, Dave, for saying that.
And I didn't hand you the stuffed animal yesterday, so
It's so much better.
right.
So let's dig into what causes SAD, SAD, and let's talk about what's actually happening in the body and the brain when you have seasonal affective disorder. And I want to pull up someone that I've been researching named Dr. Norman Rosenthal, a psychiatrist who first identified SAD, explains that it's not just the winter blues. It's actually a legitimate form of depression. And you just said that, triggered by seasonal change. And he says, with SAD, your mood, energy levels, sleep, and even appetite can all take a big hit because of the decreased sunlight during the winter months. It's real biological response. So what causes it? Research suggests it's connected to a lot of factors. It's still a really tight unknown what causes this, but what I have pulled up is serotonin issues. So sunlight boosts serotonin. Your brain feels good, chemical, okay? So less sunlight means less serotonin, which can lead to these lower mood, fatigue feelings. Melatonin overload, right? So darkness increases melatonin production, making you feel very sleepy most of the day. If you're in the space, we're here in North America, and so we do feel the darker months time frame of the day.
So in a nutshell, you're sleepy and unmotivated,
You're
right? Like that's where it goes.
Yeah, and there's a big one here, vitamin D deficiency. Huge. With less exposure to sunlight, your body doesn't produce as much vitamin D, which plays really a critical role in regulating your mood and your sleep, is vitamin D. And so here's something also, and I didn't know this, that not a lot of people know about. There's also a summer version of SAD, where rising temperatures, longer days, and humidity can actually trigger the onset of SAD. So it's not just about winter. It's also about how your body reacts to seasonal shifts. And not everybody's affected by summer SAD, but it's out there. Now they are finding this.
I do have summer that impacts me in a different way. It's not sad, though. I call it glad. All right. But it'll do.
Yeah,
there we go.
Know. Okay, there we go. So I want to share my story, but before I get into that, I want to share something else, because seasonal affective disorder in the brain works differently. And here's something fascinating that I found, because Dave and I are brain health coaches with Amen Clinics. I want to share a little bit from Amen Clinics. Brain imaging research from Amen Clinics has found that people with SAD have lower levels of serotonin in the winter months, like we talked about, but because of problems with something called serotonin transporter, or what they call SERT, SERT. SERT works like a vacuum. It's clearing serotonin out of your brain, and during the darker months, this process speeds up, leaving you with less serotonin to keep you feeling good. That's why SAD isn't just about feeling a little down. It's real biological response to the lack of sunlight and seasonal change. So what's happening is that serotonin transporter, the SERT, sucks it out of you. And you're waking up feeling a bit sad. So here's the kicker. SAD is considered a subtype of a major depressive disorder. A subtype of a major depressive disorder. And Amen Clinics research has identified 7 different types of anxiety and depression, meaning that not all SAD brains work the same. That's why what works for one person may not work for another. And the key is to finding what's right for your unique brain combination and who you are. So you can't just say, well, I've done these things, I'm not getting results. Absolutely agree with you, because you may not getting what your brain actually needs. So it's really good to try different things. And I want to dive right into my story, Dave, because let me tell you, I know exactly how this feels. I mean, every winter, SAD hits me. Every winter. And I can tell you, SAD has also hit me in Hawaii. I remember sitting on the beach with you. This was last year. We were on the beach. We were both sitting in the sand. I was sitting in between your legs. We were looking out at the ocean, and I was feeling SAD right then. I wasn't actually even thinking that I was going through a emotional SAD. And I was actually crying. And here I am in Hawaii, one of my favorite places in the world, which is back home for me. And we're sitting there, and I'm SAD, and you're like, why are you crying? And I hadn't even connected the thought that I was going through SAD at the time. And so it's not just this low energy or you wake up every morning feeling like you're, trying to run through, I don't know, wet cement. Some days I do feel like a blanket burrito that's permanently glued to, the sofa, and I'm just wrapped up. I can't even get myself to move. It's very hard for us to say in the evening, oh, okay, well, let's, wrap it up and go to bed. I mean, even the smallest tasks during the day can feel really overwhelming, and your creativity can take a tank. You feel completely zapped. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to let SAD control you. You can help yourself. And once I started understanding what was actually happening in my brain, I realized that there are steps that I could take to feel better. And I think you have to be really disciplined, though, about taking the steps. You can't just say, I tried this one day and then 4 or 5 days go by and then you try it again. You have to be really disciplined. We're going to share this with you because these are tools and strategies that have helped me. So whether you're struggling with SAD yourself or you're supporting someone who is, I want our listeners to walk away with real actionable steps to start feeling like yourself again. Because Dave, I can tank during, usually it's about a 10-week window from about January 1st-ish to about mid-March. That's for me. My unique way is about 10 weeks.
Post-holiday letdown. Yeah, the energy seems to be there until after Christmas, and then usually we're over in Hawaii, which seems to offset some of the impact of, those symptoms because we're getting more sun. We're outside more, right? And then for both of us, like, that is a game changer. Being outside is my sweet spot. It's your sweet spot too. But yeah, regardless, like it just comes on and it happens.
It happens. So in my mind, I have this scene, and gosh, this is going to date me, everyone. So the original Superman. Have you seen it, Dave? The original Superman.
The one in black and white.
Okay, now this is color. Okay,
right.
We're in color.
It's not that old.
Not that old. Do you remember when he walks in and he sees the kryptonite? The green crystal kryptonite.
Oh, yes.
So, my friends, cold weather, anything below about 45 for me is kryptonite. It is extremely hard for me to move at anything under 45, which sounds crazy. Now, I grew up skiing. I grew up teaching snowboarding until I discovered scuba diving and island life. And then, of course, I moved to Hawaii. But cold is a real struggle. Right now, during our training, we are working out there. We did a long run yesterday. It was incredible. It was incredibly cold, though. I mean, we ended up on snow-packed roads.
Yeah, it was. It
was
beautiful, though, right?
It was beautiful. Hands down beautiful.
We did it in the afternoon, so we did it in the heat of the day, low 30s, and there's a little bit of sunlight on the face, and we both have different attitudes.
Yeah.
Toward that, right? And I was sharing with you this morning, like, I get out there and I'm shivering and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then I just flipped the script and said, all right, this is just giving me energy. It's just different energy than I usually want to experience. And as soon as I started, like, convincing myself that it was going to be okay and it was energizing me and this is what I needed to do, I felt a little bit better about it. But I can tell you, it was one of those things where I got home and jumped in the shower that your hands actually burn, right?
Yeah.
Because they've gotten so cold.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. My face was getting cold. I actually ended up pulling out my
And here we are shooting this today, and it's like 17 degrees.
Yeah.
Out,
so I pulled out a I don't know what do you call it. It's like the ski masks or something, that have like the face cutout thing in it. Anyway, for those of you listening, here is a great tip if you are a runner or like to wear those things. They don't make one in the back of the neck part that is a cutout for your long hair. I have very long hair, and I want to push my hair through it. So I literally took some snips and just snipped the back of it and threw my hair in the back. It's so much. It's like 1,000 times better to not have wet hair up against the back of your neck when you're running for 2 hours. Anyway. Derailed. Sorry, my friends. We're going to get back into that. I'm going to share some key stats about SAD because I want to talk about how common this is. And
are these from Dr. Amen?
No, not all of them from Dr. Amen, but there are some. So 10 million Americans suffer from SAD each year, and another 10 to 20% experience mild symptoms. And that is from Amen Clinics 2023. That was their research from 2023, so just a couple years ago. Women are 4 times more likely to develop SAD than men. I just thought, wow, even 4 times. And if you're living from the equator, like in the northern states, you're at a 6 times higher risk of developing SAD than someone living in, Phoenix or Florida, let's say, even San Diego. You have less of that impact. And untreated SAD doesn't just impact your mood, it impacts your productivity, your relationships, and people with SAD lose an average of 4 weeks of work per year, my friends, due to these symptoms.
20 days of work, 4 weeks.
4 weeks of work. That's a massive amount in, maybe a 3-month period. So if you're feeling this way, you're definitely not alone. But the good news is there is real actionable ways to start feeling better. And I want to get into that. And this ties right into, I know, some things that you want to share too, Dave, that you have researched that we have found that it's just been incredibly helpful. And we are using this on ourselves, my friends. Definitely. There are some really cool ways. In fact, I'm so glad that we're doing this, Dave, because there's things that I want to share with you that I should even do more of. I was just thinking about it last night, and I'm going to share that. So I'm so excited. Can I share the first one?
Sure. I do have a quick question, and maybe it's in your notes.
Yeah.
Are things like current events, do they weigh on you heavily in terms of triggering sad things like the LA fires, right, which are still burning, going on? Or there's a lot of people feeling down because the TikTok ban just kicked in as we're recording this today. I open up TikTok and CapCut, and that stuff's gone. So there's a lot of people unhappy about that. Just stuff like that. Does that impact you?
Well, I'm glad you brought those things up because that is happening, and we don't really mention some of the news stories actually on the we should maybe on our podcast. But it's so, gosh, the LA fires are just a terrible thing that's happened, and I put my heart out to all those people. And then the creative industry, I think, is always changing. So it's really up to us as creators just to be adaptable. And then you just feel bad for consumers that are really locked down and consuming certain channels. But as creators and business owners, we just have to adapt, to, the changing scene, as it always is. But I don't believe it affects SAD because it is very biological. So I don't think any events, I suppose if you've lost your home in LA and you have SAD and you're in LA, it would make it worse. I'm just thinking.
Right, but I was really asking the news, you seeing the news, which I know you don't spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Does that trigger
No, it doesn't.
sadness? Okay.
No, it doesn't.
Other than the sadness, it obviously no one's happy about what's going on.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Well, the first way to take action against SAD is, I just call it, let the light in. And, light therapy is one of the most effective treatments for SAD. And a study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry found that sitting by a light therapy lamp for 20 to 30 minutes a day can improve your symptoms up to 80%. And I believe it doesn't have to just be the lights that you buy on Amazon that say they're for SAD. I believe red light therapy is just as effective.
And I was going to ask that because we use red light therapy for a lot of different things. So we have a little sort of healing area. Right now I've got a janky knee going on, so I turn that thing on and just sort of meditate for 15 minutes. But you get a lot of that red light that's just, even though you maybe have it focused on a certain part of your body for healing, it also is just bleeding into your eyes and your face.
Red light therapy, I'm super believer in red light therapy. I've used it for so long, and we have a targeted little box at home that we use, not a full body get into. I know they even make almost like massage beds, lay down versions that you can get into. But I super believe in red light therapy, and I know the standard is 12 minutes, but I would double that for myself, especially if you have SAD, and just hit a 20-minute cycle.
You can't get any negative effects from
it.
Can you get too much?
I have not found that you can get too much. I've done some research on that. I have not found that you can get too much.
It's just the one thing I know is you're not supposed to stare directly into the sun.
Right. Yeah. I usually use sunglasses or a face mask, if I'm laying down, or if I'm standing there, I'll use some sunglasses, while I'm doing it. But so I'm going to go back to this because Dr. Norman Rosenthal says, think of light therapy like a vitamin for your mood. So just like you take vitamins to fill nutritional gaps, right? Light therapy fills that sunlight gap during the darker months. That's why it's very important. So an action step here is to really look into a light therapy lamp, get a red light therapy box, commit to spending a good 10, 12, maybe 15 minutes or more, even outside if you can. during the daylight hours. I know that for Dave and I, we really try to get out. For me, we have a sunlight window that's a gap between, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and 4:30. And we try to get out there and
this
go for a
time of year,
walk.
because then the sun is about to go down.
It's
By
low.
5 o'clock, it's
Yeah.
dark, right?
It's low, and we're just still trying to kind of capture it around our neighborhoods. We like get out, and I make sure to like not have sunglasses on. It hits through my eyes. I try to make sure that I'm getting that light through my eyes. So number one, let the light in, whether it's through, one of the light therapy lamps or red light therapy or natural sunlight. It's important to get your sunlight in, your daylight in.
Yeah, and lights like this, studio lights, they don't cut it, right?
They do not cut it. Yeah, I know. I would be awesome if I could sit here and shoot a podcast and be like, hey, I've got my 20 minutes in.
I'm getting better.
Maybe I should set that up. So the second one is move your body helps move your mood. And exercise, is like a natural antidepressant, my friends. So studies show that even 10 minutes of movement can reduce feelings of fatigue by 20%. That boosts endorphins and your body's feel-good hormones, which is really important. And again, Dr. Rosenthal adds, exercise doesn't have to mean a trip to the gym. Okay, a walk outside, doing yoga, even dancing in your living room can make a huge difference in your mood. Put that music on, do something fun for you. So my action step on this one, when I say move your body, move your mood, is pick one small thing today, whether it's stretching, walking, dancing, do it in your kitchen, do it outside, wherever. Get some sort of movement in, And for me, obviously being an athlete, I am moving every day. And it does help. It does make a huge difference. But if you're not an athlete or, you're not regularly going to the gym, just getting some movement, or maybe you're seeing this in your child as a parent, it is important to get them moving. Take them out on a walk, get them out on a trail, or, I don't know if you are a place where you can go for a bike ride, get out on your bike, if you can.
Or go surfing. Well, that's Hawaii.
Or go surfing, yeah.
The truth of physical activity is that it changes your biology, right? And it creates a lot of changes in your hormones and your chemical being in it. So it's pretty well documented that exercise upregulates a lot of the things that get you high, like they call it that runner's high. And it downregulates things that sort of tend to bring you down, keep you up. So it's a good balancer, and besides you just feel better. I think there's a lot of psychological benefits to the exercise too. Just getting the work done, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday's run, I know we both didn't want to go out in the cold, but it felt good to get the work done and get through that and get back in the car.
So my friends, David doesn't get a lot of runner's high, and this was so funny yesterday. He got back. So we had different runs yesterday. I was doing a longer run. He was doing a shorter run but we ended up meeting down at the bottom of the mountain. And when he got done, I could see he was kind of buzzing, but I didn't notice it for a little while. We finally got home and he was still buzzing. And I was like, oh my God, he's just like dancing around. It was so great to see. And I turned around and said, you have the runner's high right now. It's actually, we don't do a lot of late afternoon. Like we're forcing ourselves right now with the temperatures.
Right. It's usually first thing in the morning. And so I don't know if it's runner's high that I really get off of that, because you move so quickly into work and the other things that you're doing. So
it was fun to see.
I was jacked yesterday.
I was like, you're never going to go to sleep.
And I didn't think I was going to go to sleep. I'm like, I'm going to open a bottle of wine and cook a steak and have my Saturday night anyway, even though
awesome.
It was weird to run until 5 o'clock at night.
It was. The sun was setting in that canyon. It was getting pretty low. So my third tip is fuel your brain with the right tools. And definitely this has made a huge difference for me, because here's the thing, your brain can't really function properly without the right nutrients. And we don't think about that. We think our body needs the nutrients. We've got to get the vitamins. We never think our brain needs nutrients. Never do us think that our brain needs the nutrients. And really during darker months, it needs a lot of extra support. Now, Dr. Amen has done extensive research on how key nutrients can help stabilize your mood, reduce stress, and give you the energy boost you need to fight SAD. And here's what he recommends. I'm going to share this quick list, and I'm actually doing almost all of these except for one, because I have an issue with one of them, but I will share that. Not a big issue. It's just my own body's having trouble getting the right one in, but we're testing different things. So here's what he recommends. Vitamin D. obviously, known as the sunshine vitamin. This is a critical for your mood regulation. So studies show that 42% of Americans are already deficient in vitamin D. So especially in the winter, and supplementing can make a huge difference. Now, I really recommend going liposomal, which is a liquid. Doing a liquid vitamin D. I like to mix it with a K2 because it's a regulator for vitamin D. It kind of helps you pack in the vitamin D easier, but I like just the drops, where you can just do the drops. I think it's easy. Do it in the morning before you have your coffee. It's like done. Get it in.
And with your digestive challenges and everything you have going on
Yeah.
internally, and a couple of the doctors we've worked with have mentioned this, that
Vitamin D.
sublinguals, liquids
Oh,
are,
yeah,
are the
sublinguals.
way to go for you. And you probably, when you take a pill, who knows where it goes.
Yeah, my body does not uptake capsules and stuff very
Probably
well.
just down the toilet, right? We have the most expensive waste products in the
Right.
world.
So vitamin D, very important to get your vitamin D in. Number 2 on supplementing is omega-3s. I mean, found in fish oil, and you can get plant-based alternatives, but omega-3 fatty acids really support your brain health. It needs the lubrication. It really does help reduce the symptoms of depression. So omega-3s, I know it sounds like, and there's, I'm not even going to get into this episode of quality of product, but do your research the very best you can to get the highest quality that you can find.
Right. There's a lot of omega-3s that are pretty dirty and nasty
Yeah.
out there. And that's
There
all I'll
is.
say about that.
Yeah. So anyway, so vitamin D, omega-3s, and then B vitamins. Now, B vitamins help you manage stress and improve your energy and support the neurotransmitter function. This is the one I'm struggling with. I've tried liquid version, and I've tried capsules, and I've tried tablets, and it just seems like my body's having trouble getting the right version of vitamin D. And you can do a B complex. By the way, we're not doctors. We're not suggesting anything. Always go through your primary, or your integrative, or whoever you're talking to, your wellness. Always do that. But we're just suggesting that these are the recommendations for SAD.
Oh, yes. Our lawyer will be happy that you got the old disclaimer in there, too, right?
I
Like, hey, it
know.
was in there somewhere.
What?
So
Anyway, these are just the recommended brain nutrients for SAD. So vitamin D, omega-3s, B vitamins. The next one is saffron. Yes, saffron, which sounds crazy. This is the spice. You can actually buy this in the capsules. It can help reduce symptoms of depression. In fact, studies, Dave, have found that it to be just as effective as certain antidepressant medications, but in a natural, gentle way. And that was a source I pulled up from the Journal of Clinical Psycho, and this is, I don't even know how to say this, Psychopharmacology 2022. Saffron. Mind-blowing, because if you go do the research and you just like throw in Google what supplements, it is not probably going to pull saffron. So I had to do some digging on this. Now, I work with my doctor at Amen Clinics myself. Shout out to Dr. Jay Faber. And he helps me know what the heck is going on in my brain and what could help my brain. Saffron is a big one. And for me, I have to take, 2 of the capsules a day, morning and night. So it really helps me. My next one is a game changer, Dave, and they use this a lot at Amen Clinics. One of the great models about Amen Clinics is do no harm to patient first. That is their number one. I fell in love with Amen Clinics because that was their motto.
And they don't use a medicate first model.
They
right?
do not.
Medicate
It's a brain
last.
first
Yeah.
protocol. It's a brain first. And if you're interested in checking out Amen Clinics and if you haven't had a brain scan, we totally encourage you to go check it out. You're certainly willing to use Dave and I's names as brain health coaches. I believe they give you maybe 5 or 10%.
I think it's a 10% discount
10%
on the brain
discount.
scan, which
Yeah.
can be pretty significant because insurance, of course, right,
Does not want to pay
does
for that.
not like to pay for anything.
But it's really good to go get your brain health check. So the next supplement is SAMe, S-A-M-E, SAMe. Now, this supplement is short for S, and I'm going to try to say this, adenosine methionine. And it supports serotonin production and has been shown to help with depression and mood stabilization. It's another great option to discuss with your doctor. Okay, so vitamin D, omega-3s, B vitamins, saffron, and SAMe. So our action step here is to, obviously talk to your doctor or nutritionist about these options, whether it's a simple vitamin D supplement, or you're adding omega-3s in, or you're exploring maybe saffron or SAMe for yourself. These are very small, but these are very effective and very powerful, and they can help support the brain health during these darker months or when you're starting to experience SAD. Now, I know, Dave, for myself, I usually have to stay on these supplements for a good solid 10 weeks. So I know I have a 10-week run of it, and then mid-March, it's pretty much done. It's just over. The lights now, days are getting longer, lights changing, it's slightly getting warmer, and I'm just feeling better. I just start feeling better. So it's like a 10-week run of it.
Interesting stuff. And, I think it's worth just mentioning gut health, right? Like
Yeah.
we're really focused on gut health, but we know that like 80%, don't quote me on this, of your serotonin is produced and stored in your gut, right? And then transported up to the brain. And I've just seen multiple research papers that talk about the fact that poor gut health is intricately linked to depression and things like that. And so,
Yeah.
eat healthy, be healthy.
Yeah.
Is sort of been our motto. Anything in the research that talked about cortisol production?
I did not. And there's one other thing I want to share too. I want to hear what you have to say about that, because there's something else that I want to share too. I did see some notes about it in the research, but I didn't do a full bleed out on that. But I did see something bleed out. I don't know why I said that, my friends. I say random words. I don't know why I say that. I'm super random. So I didn't do like a full research day on that, but I have something that I have found that people say, and we actually naturally did it, David. And so can I just share it, because now it's on my mind, and then we'll circle back to your cortisol.
Yeah, do it.
So we naturally, and this is really healthy for you, change your space around you. We naturally did it. Dave and I just changed offices over this winter. We actually took everything off in the walls in our bedroom, and we reinvented our bedroom walls just with new pictures, new vibe. All of that actually makes a difference for your mood. The other thing is, go on a trip somewhere. Get out of your box. Go somewhere that inspires you. Go get some sunshine. Go down to Florida. Take a trip to the Caribbean. Go to Hawaii. Get some sunshine in you. That's also going to make a huge difference. Jump on a cruise.
Usually this time of year we are in Hawaii, and
Yeah,
that has
for sure.
an impact on reducing your sad at
Yeah.
all. And it also increases my glad exponentially. But this
Yes.
year we are not doing that because we're focused on building this part of our business.
Yeah.
Not that we don't work over there, but it just seemed to be our season to stay through the sad season
Yeah.
in Idaho this year.
Well, we are making a commitment to you, my friend. So we have a lot going on that we're releasing and prepping for y'all. So we just, we're here. We are working on it. We just couldn't even really break ourselves away. So we're here for you. But let's jump into cortisol, Dave. Share it with us.
Well,
What
no,
do you
I was
have?
asking if you actually had seen any research, because it seemed to be probably linked, right? We get up in the morning, that first sunlight starts to
Yes.
raise our cortisol.
Yeah.
And then in the evening time, we put on the blue blockers and soft lights and sort of take that down so we can go to sleep. Anything in your research that talked about sleep in terms of?
I did not, and there is a lot of things that can help improve your sleep, but it's also, we know that sad can definitely affect your sleep, where you either want to sleep longer or you have trouble sleeping. It can
Right.
go two different ways.
And I think for you, it's usually the trouble
Yeah.
sleeping, right?
Yeah, I have trouble
So,
sleeping.
no, I don't have anything else to say on cortisol. But I would like to talk about the psychology side of it too, because so much is focused on the biological side of it, and I get
Yeah.
it, right? During the winter months, the sad component, right? All the happy chemicals are lessened, are blunted in your life, and all of the things that make you sleepy and sad are increased. But we're both big meditators, and we're both big fans of Joe Dispenza. If you don't know who Joe Dispenza is, go look him up. But he really talks about hacking your biology through, for lack of a better word, psychology, right? And part of his story where he came to this was, right, he had a horrible accident on a bike. He got run over by a car, and they said, you're probably going to be, unable to walk, or at best we're going to need to fuse your back and you'll be limited in terms of what you can do. And he's like, I don't think so. And has since gone on to do amazing things in terms of helping people overcome what the medical community would call biological issues with energy work, with psychology. And so I think something that is worth sharing here is, if you have sad or anything else, that is negatively impacting you, you've got to stop repeating the words, right? And like in this space, it's like winter sucks, or I miss XYZ, or I hate January, or yesterday I heard you say a few times, right? Cold is my kryptonite,
Yeah.
right? All of those sorts of things, like maybe it is true, but you reinforce that loop in your mind when you actually start to talk like that, when you say those sort of things, because the mind is like a sponge, right? The brain is a sponge. And so you give it instructions and it goes to work executing on that plan. And so, I just think it's worth watching the way your thoughts appear, and also, especially when you're down, right? I get it, it's really hard to do, but also the way you talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that can help reduce the impact that you may be currently having if you're experiencing sad. And, I was sort of laughing when I was making notes here, because inevitably, right around the end of Labor Day, as we're moving through September, we always say, well, it's going to come, right? We're going to have that low light, sad effect. It's going to impact you specifically, but it impacts both of us. And just a thought, like, what if we said cancel, right? And we changed the way we talk, and like, we know we're going to need to do some work, right? We're going to need to really work through this, and it's not going to impact me as bad this year. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, because I was in Hawaii, and I always think that Hawaii, or being in a lighter place that's warmer for me, can make it better, but it still affects me. It is the strangest thing. I mean, literally, that's why they say that you can even have summer sad. So, I mean, it's just these shorter days, not getting enough sleep. My melatonin is just not there. The serotonin's not there. I'm just not getting everything I need. So, and then when I don't stay on top of it, like in Hawaii, we're not doing red light therapy. I'm not really staying on top of my protocols that works for me. I may run out of my supplements, or I didn't bring them, or something. So I'm not really helping myself. But when I'm on top of that, and I'm doing it consistently, there's a huge difference. So I think, yes, you can psychologically kind of talk yourself half into feeling better, but biologically there is something going on in your brain. And again, what my research shows is they don't know exactly why this happens. This is just what they have found. The research shows it is clearly in the brain happening. So, but at the end of the day, we all should be talking to ourselves in a more positive way, or helping our kids, even if you're a parent and you're seeing your kid, go through this every year, helping them even have positive self-talk, because it's just a no-brainer that we all need to be doing that.
And it's a touchy subject, right? Because when you're in it, and to have your partner say, hey, cancel, rewire that conversation.
It doesn't feel good.
You're like, what? I'm in it right now.
But
and it can create some friction, right? So you really have to be open to the thought process.
Yeah.
That we are who we think we are, right? A lot of times.
Dave comes from a psychology background. His father was a psychologist, and so Dave is very driven into psychology. So I've got to watch myself, my friends, because you can kind of try to steer me in one way or another. So watch out, Dave.
I'm not trying to steer you one way or the other. But just like you help me think about things that challenge me, with injuries or work or energy, those sorts of things, because you're really strong, like on the energetic side. You've got to be open to it, right?
Because, for sure.
Because at the end of the day, like, it's complicated. We're each like a trillion chemical reactions happening simultaneously all the time. And you just never know what someone else is going through, right? Like, no matter how close you are to them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it can be a touchy subject, but in our relationship, right, like, we're able to talk about those sorts of things. And
I mean, I just say, most importantly, get some help for yourself, and take yourself seriously, and remember that your brain does need these nutrients, and it is important when you're experiencing these SAD symptoms to actually jump on top of this. Do the best you can. Now,
and do some push-ups.
We know not everyone can afford to go to Amen clinics and get a brain scan, but talk to your doctor, talk to your nutritionist, talk to whoever you can, or do the research yourself, and try some things that may help you feel better. Even like I said, light therapy, getting out, making sure you're getting that sunlight, get that movement in. use those vitamins, those supplements to help your brain find some health healing in there. So
I mean, also we use visualization and meditation, right, as a
yes,
tool
absolutely.
to do that. Do you feel
Yeah.
you can work through SAD in any way, shape, or form through meditations? You can reduce the impact of it.
I do help think. I mean, meditation really helps you stay focused on, what you're going after, right? What you want, what you're changing into, the version of this future self. So I do think that does help because you are reprogramming your brain to become something else that it's not yet. You're living in the now, but you want this thing. So I do think meditation can make a big difference. Yeah.
And if you're not meditating, it's one of those new habits, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So habits have a way of sticking if you do them repeatedly over a short period of time. Like I think they say something like 60 or 70 days, a new habit becomes something that you actually just automatically do. So
I saw just a quick note before I know we're going to land the plane here, but I saw on Amazon the other day that they actually have these meditation bears, little animals, light animals that help kids meditate. Where you can set it where the light will go on and then it'll go off. So it's like breathe in, breathe out, and it like goes with the bear. And you're teaching your kids how to meditate. I just thought that was so cool. They also have like I want to say anxiety reducing stuffed animals that have a built-in sound therapy in them. So there's that.
And more and more, they're starting to add AI into that, which is interesting,
yeah.
right? The meditative bear can actually sense where your child's energy is at and their emotional state and help work them through that. It's interesting times, right? Because there's
really
going to be a
is.
lot of tools that come out from an AI perspective that create better lives for all of us.
I'm all about it. So anyway, anything else you want to share, Dave?
I will go through my notes and I'll look here. So no. I guess
Okay,
that's
well,
it.
thank you for spending time with us today, my friends. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need a little light this winter. And remember that SAD is not your fault, and you don't have to navigate it alone. So until next time, keep showing up, keep moving forward, and always keep rising every single day. And Dave and I are going to give you our very, very best love and appreciation. We're super grateful that you're here, and we're going to send you off with our favorite, Aloha.
Aloha.